A good number of years ago, I made up some tapping aids for my mill or drill press. And it's important to keep your tap at 90 degrees to the surface which the tapping or hole to be tapped is in. So a lot of my taps had a hole in the back like this. And I made up this little device. This point is spring loaded and moves in and out. It's pretty tough spring, so I can't demonstrate that right now, but it does actually move in and out to some degree. And that fits in the hole. So you've got this in your chuck, and then the tap sits above the hole that you're going to be tapping into, and this goes on here, and you can push down and it holds the tap at 90 degrees. Now that was pretty simple, but not all taps have a hole here. Now this one is really easy to do. You just put the tap wrench on, put it in the hole, and start turning. But when you get a tap that looks like this one, you don't have the hole. What you have is kind of is turned down a little bit on the sides. And let me get a smaller one of these, like this one. I have a different piece here that accepts that, right? And it fits in there, and then I like the hole better, but you can use this and it does work. And the only problem with that is once the tap starts to get larger, like this one, well, that's not going to work anymore because it doesn't fit in there, so you need a different size here. Overall, I prefer having a hole in the tap. So what I'm going to do now, I've noticed that all my 1/4-20 taps, and I like a 1/4-20 if I'm doing a project, that's probably what I'm going to pick to use. And so I use the 1/4-20s a lot, and none of them had the hole in it. I was forced to go to the other method, and I don't care for it. So what I'm going to do is put a hole here in the taps. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So the first thing to do is find out if this is too hard to use a center drill on in order to put the hole in there. And you can do that with a file. Listen to this. We haven't even made a mark on there, and you heard it just skating over that. This is really hard, and you would just break the center drill. So we have to soften this up a little bit. What I'm going to do is heat this up just at the very end until it gets nice and cherry red. Does take a while. It's starting to get red now. I can see that nice red color, nice and cherry red. That's what you want. Okay, all we have to do now is let that cool. Let it cool right down so that you can touch it, and we'll come back in a minute with that. Okay, that definitely took longer than a minute. You don't want to dump it in water. You risk hardening it back up again. And just let it cool till you can touch it. And then take your file and run it across. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's soft now. And it made a different noise. It didn't skate as much, and it is taking metal off the end of the tap. That means it's soft enough now to take it over to the lathe and run a center drill into that to create our little pointed hole in there. Here's the tap that we just put the center drill hole in the end. Got it set up with our spring-loaded positioner here. And the tap wrench is on. We're ready to try to drill a hole. We've already put the pilot hole or the tap drill hole in here. Put a little bit of oil on there. That looks like just about it there. And it went through just fine.
If you're doing this with a propane torch and it doesn't drill well, or in other words, it didn't get soft enough, you can try using MAPP gas, and that'll get it up quite a bit hotter. You'll get a really nice cherry red with that. In fact, if you have MAPP gas, might as well use that in the first place. But just in case you're having a problem with the propane, the MAPP gas will work better. If you'd like to harden that end up again, the end we just softened and drilled, just repeat the process, heat that up nice and cherry red, and as soon as it's nice and red, dump it in some cold water. That'll harden it right back up.